Okay, we are back. Mr. Taylor, middle school mathematics, dividing fractions. So, one key concept we need to remember, to divide a fraction, we simply multiply by its multiplicative inverse. And we know that a multiplicative inverse, well, let's just go ahead and work through an example that goes with the key concept. So if I have actually 2 over 5 and I'm dividing that by 3 over 4, well, I'm going to rewrite the very first fraction just the way it is. And mind you, as we find out that these will literally work with whole numbers as well. So they're just not fractions that's involved here. So we have 2 over 5 divided by 3/4. Now we will take the multiplicative inverse of 3/4. That means, and we're going to multiply, that means that the 4 and 3 will literally rotate and change places. So the denominator 4 now will become our numerator, and the numerator 3 will become our denominator. Okay, now we just go through the rules of multiplication of fractions, which is if we cannot simplify by cross dividing, we'll just multiply numerator times numerator and denominator times denominator. Okay, now we also said, that if you look closely, and you'll see that if we cannot simplify before we divide, then the number is going to be simplified unless that number is a improper fraction after we're done. So here we see 8 over 15 cannot be simplified, and that would be our immediate answer. Let's take a look at another one. Let's take a look at 7 over 8. And 7 over 8 is divided by 3 over 4. Okay, so again, the first thing we do is we're going to rewrite 7 over 8. Okay, we're going to literally take the multiplicative inverse of the divisor, which is 3 over 4, and multiply, and it becomes again 4 over 3. If you notice, see how I changed places with the numerator and denominator? Now I'll look again to see, can I, and I can. If I look at this, I see that I can literally simplify here. So 4 goes into 4 one time, and then the 8 two times. This will keep me from simplifying and after I'm done. So here I will have 7 over 5. Okay, now that's going to keep me from simplifying. I'm sorry, 7 over 6. Forgive me, mine was somewhere else. 7 over 6, and that can be reduced to 1. Remember I said if it is improper, we can go ahead and reduce that 1 and 1/6. Now we actually could have, just for those of you that just don't want to get into the cross division, we could have just taken 7 over 8 times 4 over 3, and we will wind up here with 28 over 7 times 4 and 8 times 3 is 24. Now what we need to do is see how can we reduce this. So we can reduce this, simplify this before actually writing it. If you really want to, we know that that goes into 1 times, and you will have 4 over 24. And think about 4 and 24. Yes, they are factors. 4 is a factor of 24, so 4 goes into 4 one time, and then into 24 6 times. So there are several ways we could have done this. We could have taken the 28 and divide them both by 6, and I'm sorry, divide them both by 4, and then at this point, let me bring this down here. At this point, if we will divide by 3, actually I'm going to divide by 4, and I'll have 7 over 6, and then again that's going to give me again 1 and 1/6. So several ways we could have done this, but again, I think a good method is just simplifying prior to it. Okay, let's take a look at another problem. Get all that out of the way. So let's take a negative 4 over 5 and let's divide it by 6 over 7. Now we got a negative here. Okay, so we'll still take a negative 4 over 5. We're just going to rewrite that and multiply by the reciprocal or the multiplicative inverse. So that means now 7 becomes my numerator and 6 becomes my denominator. I can take 4 goes, well, let's take 2. 2 goes into 4, a negative 2 times, and here 3. So we will come out of this with a negative 14. 2 times 7 is 14. A negative times a positive is a negative over 5 times 3, which is 15. Okay, look good. Cannot simplify. So as long as you understand that concept, wait. Don't want to get too far. Definitely want to well, yeah, I think I'll just do that in another video without tacking that on right now. So again, but we can do a negative times a negative. I think that's a good deal. So let's do that one before we close. I was going to close out, but I think no, let's do something different. But let's take a negative 2/3 and let's divide that by a negative 3/5. So again, we have rules, and these are rules of integers. A multiplication or division, they're still the same. A negative times a negative is a positive, or a negative divided into a negative is a positive. So keep those in the back of your mind as we go through this one. So we have, again, negative 2/3 remain the same, and now we're going to multiply by the multiplicative inverse, and this would be a negative 5 over 3. Okay, so don't seem like much we can do as far as the cross division or whatever. So we'll just go ahead and multiply straight across. A negative 2 times a negative 5 will give us a positive 10, and of course 3 times 3 will give us 9, and this can be reduced to 1 and 1/9. So again, as we looked at this negative times a negative, we have a negative 2/3 times, divided by a negative 3 over 5, and we rewrite the negative 2/3, but we take the negative 3 over 5 and take the multiplicative inverse. That becomes a negative 5 over 3, and we cannot simplify prior to multiplying. So now we're going to take a negative 2 times a negative 5, and 2 times 5 is 10. Negative times a negative is a positive, and then 3 times 3 is 9. This is an improper fraction, so we must simplify it to 1 and 1/9. Okay, so work on it. Just work on it. Remember the key concept. Remember the rules, and it should come to you fairly easy. But practice makes perfect. So let's take a look next at how we divide by a whole number.